Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, yesterday given one lab ID, na? So for doubts that the ID password is changed, we everyone have that ID, na? ID is same, password we have changed. If anybody missed out, note down this is the Zoom meeting ID for doubts. Zoom meeting ID for doubts, right? For online people also I given. If anybody missed, take down at 9169075166. This is the Zoom meeting ID. Passcode is 112233. This is the passcode. That is meeting ID. For everyone I given yesterday. If anybody not there yesterday, you make a note of this. For online, offline, for everyone we given. So if anybody missing, you take this. Huh? This is for complete UI full stack, okay? Your React JS, everything, you can get it from here. That means any doubts are there related to UI full stack, then these people will help you. Huh? So next, after this, yesterday we learned about what queries. Huh? So how to update query we learned. Now delete query similar. So MongoDB delete query. If you know the update queries, delete queries also same. So delete query is also same. The Zoom doubt session, I already told you, timings 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Anytime you can log in, and if you have any doubts, you can ask them. But remember, they will be addressing issues with others also. So you need to keep patience and wait until they finish doubts clarification of other. Right? If you are not clarified with doubts there, you can ask in lab here. So in classroom, you can ask. There are so many ways. Huh? So here, many people will be logging on and clarifying their doubts. Sometimes it will take time to get back to you. Right? So if it is clarified, okay. If not, So then you can ask in class also, right? Yeah. So in this delete query, what is the delete query? Simple. So it allows MongoDB allows to remove documents using following methods. What are those methods? We have delete one. Another one is what? Delete many. So syntactically what they do, syntactically db.collection and delete one or many, we need to write the find query. Just a simple find query is enough. So the find query is enough. So example, so products delete one ID is 2. This is going to delete specific db.products.delete many. So rating dot rate. So we have a query. What is it? $LTE less than or equal to 3. You know this, huh? What it is going to do? Delete all the products whose rating is less than 3. Right. And deleting documents. Yesterday we already learned deleting fields. How do you delete the fields? By using update and unset. By using update and unset, you can remove the fields. Adding fields, removing fields, changing name of the field. So those are all update, right? So deleting data, you can do by using delete one and delete many. Same find query, whatever you have. And or all operators are same. So what you do? So delete all electronics with rating greater than or less than, then you have to use end or queries everything. And how to delete? This is deleting. So to remove any collection, already we learned na? db dot collection name dot what? Drop. So we need to just use db dot products dot drop. And to remove database, already we have that db dot drop database. So these are all the CRUD operations we have. So in MongoDB, the summary for all the CRUD operations. We have find for reading, insert one, insert many. We have update one, update many, update many. We have delete one, we have delete many. We have create collection. So use, am I right? Creating database, creating collections, reading the records, inserting, updating, deleting, all these options. Right. So finding the records, inserting, updating, and deleting. These are the CRUD. Actually, in MongoDB database for our full stack development, these are the queries you need to understand, you need to learn. So MongoDB internally have so many others. Mongo Atlas, Mongo has so many. Those are all not our concepts. So here, according to our full stack related contents, in MySQL, the queries and commands you learned, and in MongoDB, the queries and commands that you learned, these are enough. Now we can use them in applications. That means you can use in building the database for any project. With the backend combination, we will see. Here some more points are there we need to understand. So here we will use understand another one is MongoDB validation schema. MongoDB validation schema. How to handle this? Because MongoDB is completely structureless. It allows you to store any kind of data. There is no restriction in it. So you can build one validation schema explicitly. This validation schema can be used while creating a collection so that according to this schema, if you don't input values, it will show you warnings, errors that you can manage by using validation schema. Directly, when you create a table, we don't have any structured restriction like what should be field name, what should be the data type. So these we don't have, but we can put validation schemas, and through the schema, we can validate. What is validation? Already we know. Actually, validation is the process of verifying user input. We can verify the user input. So validation is required to ensure that contradictory and unauthorized data is not get stored into database. That is the important. So MongoDB provides a JSON schema. It provides a JSON schema. to configure validation for collection, to configure validation for collection. It have JSON schema. So what is the purpose here is, what is the purpose of this JSON schema is, it allows you to validate the values. So JSON schema uses JSON types that verify the data type of value that you insert. That is important. One requirement is there. You finished your React JS, huh? All of you doing if anyone finished your React JS, please contact me once. I will give a we need mentors. Huh? I will post in my Instagram also. Our Naresh IT requires some mentors. Their pay scale, these people not mentioned. Yeah, if anyone interested in mentoring, who finished your React UI front end up to JavaScript, if anybody interested, then you can contact me once. That is only offline, no online. If you contact me, we have a mentor requirements. We have one mentor requirement for UI full stack people. Our Naresh Technologies is taking mentors for different technologies like Java, Python, and data science, some other courses also. If you are interested, you can give your resume to me. Personally, you give your resume hard copy to me so that we can check and we can appoint you as mentoring for mentoring, right? They give you a bank's based salary statements and all. It will be helpful for you to even show as experience. So your salary will be given through bank. So it will be helpful for you to, if later if you are applying for any job also, you can show this as an experience also, right? If anybody interested in mentoring, so that means what you have to do is, actually so many technologies are there. In our UI full stack, you need to clarify doubts for the students. So with learning technologies, right? Because if you already learned and practiced, that is enough. If you have practiced very well, you know how to resolve issues of your practice problems that you can guide. If anybody interested, you can please contact me. You can give your resume hard copy to me after the sessions today or tomorrow so that we can appoint you. Right? There is nothing, we will check your skill sets and based on that we will appoint you. There is nothing complicated interview or anything. I personally will verify and I will send you to that. Right? Okay. So if you anybody interested, let me know. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now what is this JSON schema? JSON JavaScript schema is actually it uses validator object for validation. Validator object for validation. So that means what you have to do, db dot create collection and you have collection name and you define options. In the options, what you have to do is we need to use JSON schema. This JSON schema is an object. So in that we have to define JSON type. JSON type is object. And we need to define properties required. Required means key 1, key 2, key 3. What are the fields required? We need to define properties. Properties again an object. In the properties object, you have to define the field name. And for the field name, what is the type? We need to define the type. So field name have JSON type. It needs a data type. And a description. And validator. You need to define in this way. This is how we need to set the validation. So creating the collections and defining them. So this is validation schema actually. Validation schema we have. Why we need validation? First point is so contradictory unauthorized means when user inputs a value, we verify and check whether the value is matching with the same data type what we are expecting. Because MongoDB don't have that ability by default. Because by default it is structureless, it allows you to store anything. We need certain restrictions. Actually, in JavaScript based technologies, that is the major problem you learned. Already you know what are the drawbacks of JavaScript. First point, JavaScript is not strongly typed. It is not implicitly strictly typed. Remember those points? Huh? Strongly typed means data type restrictions not there. Actually, we have third-party libraries. You can import those libraries and you can validate. Suppose you visit this npmjs.com. This is Node Package Manager official website, npmjs. In this official website, you search for uh, JavaScript prop types. So JavaScript prop types, you will find types. JavaScript prop types. Yeah, this is one library we are having. This is the property type. These prop types are used for verifying data types. That means when you enter any value, it will verify is the value same type as expected or not. Actually, in other programming languages, what they do, they declared some already in, you saw that name, varchar, we have age, integer. In MySQL we define. But in JavaScript, we don't have this facility. But there are third-party libraries. We can import them and use them. But in reality, what happens, JavaScript people, they don't use these libraries because they may not be according to their requirements every time. Usually what they do, they write their own validation, right? You know how to verify number is an AN, how to know the data type of, how do you know whether it is derived from a particular class or not, instance of. By using these, we can verify. But ready-made, they verify using some functions. You can try them. These third parties are used for such reasons, right? But these days, we are not depending on them. Why? Because we have a new language called TypeScript now. Using this TypeScript, because TypeScript is strongly typed. And using TypeScript, we are developing application. This TypeScript will translate into JavaScript. Now in projects, we are using TypeScript, JavaScript combination. So in MongoDB, because it is same like JSON data, here we don't have any restriction. So we have to set up the restriction. So how do you set this restriction? So you have to set the restriction by using validator. That means you need a validator to define. Validator uses the JSON schema. Actually, this is defined using a property called what? Validator. Validator uses the JSON schema. This is here ending here. Huh? Yeah, this is validator actually. We have a validator. The validator uses a JSON schema. So we create a collection name, and we have a validator. Other than validator, you have so many other options also. What are those? Auto index ID, min length max, max, and what? Size, capped. All these we can try. So here, if you want, you can configure this validator. In addition to them, you have a validator also. Validator uses JSON schema. Suppose you see, let's create. So here we are creating a collection. While creating the collection, we can configure the type. Problem in connecting. So we need a server to start. If any time you got this error, means server not connected. Connection refused error, it comes means server may be disconnected. You need to connect to server. Services. In services, MongoDB. And here you see server is not running. We have to start. Okay, now it is ready. Now it is connected. Let's go to our sample DB. We are creating a collection. You have create collection button graphically. While creating collection, you can see here collection name some users. Here you have additional preferences. Additional preferences, you can see in additional preferences some details are there. Clustered collection and custom correlation, like what language specific rules. These are all not required for you because in administration and all they are required. Here we can add some additional attributes. Clustered collection, later I will tell how to define a clustered collection. What attributes will be there, I will show that. Here you have options like time series and you have a custom what is that? Collation. Another one is clustered collection. These are not every time required for you. You need one validator, right? So what is that validator is? Just use sample DB and here we have to create a collection. So db dot create collection. Collection name is what? Users. Now here in the properties we need to use validator. Validator actually uses, it is an object. Validator object uses what? $JSON schema. It uses JSON schema. This JSON schema is an object. In that JSON schema, you have to define the validation. JSON schema indicates JSON type. What is the schema type? We have to define as JSON type. JSON type is what? Object. That is JSON type is object. After that, you have to use required. Required, what fields are required? Required fields. What are the fields required? Fields required is nothing but what are the fields required? In this users, I want username, I want age, I want like suppose mobile, like this we can define. So just I am using two fields. These two are required. How many fields you want and in that which field is required you can mention. Now another option, after that we need to set what? Properties. Properties is an object. In the properties object we need to set validation for everyone. What is that validation? What should be the data type for username? What should be the data type for age? Are there any limitations you want to define for them? You can configure. So here key. Key is what? So key is what? Username. Username is the key. What is the point about key? Key will have the properties. What are those? So first one is JSON type. Key must be what type? String. What else? You can have validations like min length, max length by using minimum, maximum you can define. Already it is required because in required we are configuring it. So what is this? So suppose description. Description is what? Whatever the message. Message is like what? So user name must be a string. That's what we are defining. Okay. Next what? This is a username field. This is the username related field. Next, another field we need to define, comma. This is ending here username. This is username and some. These curly braces are important. This is properties. Okay, here after username another field. What is it? Age. For age, what is the type? So we have JSON type. JSON type is what? It is an int. I given a list of data types now. You have to use those data types. Integer, double, decimal, those data types you need to define. Okay, what is another one? So it is having like minimum. Minimum how many? Suppose minimum is 15. Minimum age must be 15. You can have maximum, minimum values you can configure. So, and what else? Maximum. Maximum is what? Maximum is 30. Okay, what else? Description. Description. Description is what? Age 15 to 30 only. Like this, we have to build the validation. Better we write a separate validation in a structured way and you copy that here and use it. I will show an ORM mechanism that is more easy because here it is little complex because in command line you have to type. ORM means what? Through Node.js, later I will show you Node.js. In Node.js you can create one JavaScript file. In the JavaScript file you can configure the structure. Automatically when you run, it will create database. It will create data according to the structure. Here you miss a simple option. It is okay now created. That means all the features are defined ready. If you miss any curly brace, anything issues will come. Better what you do, first type everything in one notepad like in a structured way, copy and paste it here. That will reduce the issues. Otherwise issues will come, right? So here we are using the validator with the JSON schema. This is the validation schema we are using. It is copied. Okay. This is the validation schema. So users, validator have a JSON schema. In that we have a JSON type is object. Required fields are these. Properties we are defining. In the properties, username property is this. In a structured way, I am giving. This is one user. This is about username. Just for your clarity's sake, I am adding this. Yeah. Age have a JSON type. Age have minimum. Age have maximum. age have description, and this is age ends here. After that, properties end here. These are age related. I'm just giving a structured way for your understanding sake. And after this is what JSON schema end. Okay. This is validator end. This is options end. This is the structured way. Actually here, this is end of properties. This is what? End of what? This is end of JSON schema. This is end of JSON schema. This is end of validator. And this is what? End of options. Creating options. These are all important to understand. So you created one collection. This collection is having the details in this way. So username and age, JSON type and all. So when you create collection, you know that collection have two parameters. One parameter is collection name, another parameter is options. In options, what options you learned? Auto index ID, capped, max, size, and there is one more called validator. I used only that validator. Along with validator, you can have capped, you can have max, you can have size, auto index ID also. Validator uses a JSON schema. JSON schema is what type object? In that object, you have two important keys, required and properties. Required indicates what are the fields required. Properties indicates what is the limitation of every field. We need to define this limitation of every field. And every field can contain a data type, validators, and description. Description is nothing but if they fail the validation and store something else, then what it is going to do? It is going to display these messages. Whatever messages you define, it is going to display those messages. Description is nothing but error message, right? So this I will copy to you. I will copy here. Let me explain these points first. Okay. So here validation. So here validation schema is defined with validator. With validator. So that means level by level db dot collection name, and here first validator. This is the first step. Second, validator uses JSON schema, which is object type. JSON schema, which is object type. DB collection name, validator JSON schema, which is an object. That is how you define. Inside validator, there will be JSON schema. JSON schema is an object. So every schema have following properties, following keys. What is it? JSON type, required, and properties. It is always object type for schema. It defines the fields that are required. Properties means it is an object that configures validation for every field. So property is another object again. That means what is this required? Required is same like not null. In my field, validator means that is minimum, maximum. That is the validator. That is validator. Which validation you want? That is not key name. They are all optional. So remember, this validator is the validator, mandatory validator you have to use. For every property, validator means which validation you want to use. It's not validator, you can say as validation. Validation property you can say, right? Here I given validator na. So what does this means? Is it minimum validator? Is it maximum validator? Is it min length? Is it max length? That is the validator means here. Okay. This is just syntax. Now in syntax, validator means which validation service you are using, right? Validator means min, max, min length, max length. These are all lot validators, right? So every property have schema have JSON type, required, and properties. So how do you define this? So we need to configure this DB collection name in this validator. In the validator, we have JSON schema. In the JSON schema, we have three. What is it? JSON type. It is always what type? Object. Required is what? So fields. And another one is properties. Properties is again object. In this field, we have every field have what again? Up to this I will give first. Properties we will put later. Huh? Separately I am adding one by one so that it can be easy in understanding. So this properties is an object which will have a key, and the key is field name and its restrictions. So every property is an object that configures validation for every field. Every field validation is again an object, right? Every field is an object. Every field is an object. How do you define? So every field validation is defined as object with JSON type, validator services. Validator services means minimum, maximum, min length, max length, and a description. That means actually here in the properties, you need to use a field. Again, it is an object. We have JSON type, data type, minimum, here we can add value, maximum as value like this. Description, message, all these we can add. Similarly, another field. For every field, we need to give the properties in this way. Right. So here, every field validation is defined as an object. And the JSON types means you have to exactly use only the types that I given. So in the list, we discussed some types, you have to use them. So once you set all these, according to that, it will accept the data. So once it creates a collection here, it is saying, okay, show collections. Collections is having users also. Now into users, we will try to insert db.users.what insert one. In this, we are having an object. In this username, suppose I given empty, right? Actually, username is a string. I given empty. Suppose age, I given some details. Suppose I am not using age. Suppose I given like password, some password ABC, something. I am trying to insert this. Then it shows error. What is it? document failed validation. So it failed the validation. And what is that validation? It shows all the data here. And it shows the JSON schema required. What are the fields required? Username and age. What is missing? Age. That means it will clearly verify what is missing. Understood? Here we have username, but age is not there. Age is missing. Okay. For example, I given here the field as what? Age. Age. So age is like suppose 10. I given like this and enter. Again validation failed. When you see the validation, what is the problem? Validation failed. Which one? Age validation failed. What is that failed? 15 to 30. So minimum is 15. Minimum is 15. Comparison failed. Na? Comparison failed. That means it is you entered how much? 10. It is expecting 15. That means it is verifying that. Okay, now I entered. This is like 18 and enter. It is inserted. But we haven't mentioned password should be there. And we haven't entered username. Username is entered actually because empty string is also a value. Understood? Empty string is also a value. It is a blank string. That means it will store a blank space. A blank string will be stored. It is also a value. It is also a value. For example, you entered some details like username is suppose username I given null. So username is null and age is okay. Age is okay, some 19 something and enter. It is failed. That means whether value entered or not, it will verify using the length of the characters you entered. But actually when you pass an empty string in JavaScript based technologies, this indicates it doesn't indicate that there is no value. It indicates that it is an empty string. It is a blank string. Whether value is there or not, it should be verified using two options. One is what? Undefined. Another one is what? Null. In JavaScript, at the compile time, if value is not provided, then it will treat it as what? Undefined. At runtime, value is not provided, then it will treat as what? Null. Null. And if you provide empty string like double quotes, it will take a blank string which is treated as a value. It is not null. It is not undefined. It is a blank string. It will take as a blank string. That is the reason in the first case it is valid. Second case it is not valid. Why? Because it is, you see what is the condition here. So it says what is the failed? Username must be a string. String means any empty string also okay. It cannot be null. It cannot be null. Any empty string is also okay. It will take empty strings. It will take empty string. What is meant by required? Required means it is not verifying whether value required. It is verifying whether the field is required or not. That means the field is required or not. You are telling that required, not value required. Value required or not, you are not defining that, right? For example, here, so we have to define the validation property. What is the validation property? Minimum, maximum. You can also have validation property. What is it? Required. Required uses a Boolean value, true or false. It uses a Boolean value, true or false. If I mention this, that means it is required. That means it cannot be null. What is meant by this required? This indicates that these fields must be there. It is not about the values in the fields. It is about the fields. Whether those fields are there or not, it is verifying. It is not verifying value of the field. Value of the field you have to write here. Value of the fields we have to define here. So we need to put required, minimum, maximum. The attributes need to be configured here. Above when you mention required, this is about what fields are required. What fields are required? You are mentioning that. That means it defines the fields that are required. Compulsory, these fields are required. Better here you say not value. Understood? It is not value. It is about only fields. Field related value is again verified by using what? Required inside every field. Inside every field you have to use required. So these are important. So if you pass the validation and you enter the data, so then it is going to take the values and use the values. So you need remember, we can add, important is you can add so new field that are not defined in validation, in validator, that are not defined in validator. You can add new fields that are not defined in validator. But you cannot ignore the fields that are defined as required fields. But you cannot ignore the fields that are defined as required fields. These are all actually database related validation. While working with database, this is how you validate. But in projects, what we do, our validation will be in server side or it will be client side. We will not verify in database. Before we go to the database itself, we will verify whether value entered is the correct value as expected or not. So that means you already learned when you started learning your JavaScript. JavaScript can be used client side, it can be used server side, it can be used in database. What is the job of using JavaScript client side? Reducing the burden on servers. Server side we can validate, but better to validate client side so that it reduces burden on server. These are the key points we discussed when you started JavaScript. JavaScript can validate server side, JavaScript can validate client side, but to reduce burden and to save round trips, we have to use validation what? Client side. So this is one validator how we can define validation schema. That means how to write validations, how to restrict the values. But this is not completely satisfying because the fields that you have mentioned, those fields it will validate. Other fields your wish, you can keep anything. That means still it is not structured. That means in the required fields they mention 3, you added 4, it will take. The fourth field related validation is not there. That is all custom. You added your own validation. Okay. So this is one concept you need to know how the validation schema is defined. Validation schemas are there. So in MongoDB, how you design tables, collections, so database, insert, validate, update, and delete. These are the options. Database related more concepts are there, but they are not required for you in the full stack process. That is for the people who are separately only learning MongoDB as database as a career. Here for full stack web development, these are enough to understand. Some more interview question also I will give to understand them. FAQs we will discuss about that. But these are enough for a full stack application, and all these are also not required. Only CRUD operations are important for us. How to insert, read, update, and delete. Now one more important question asked related to MongoDB in introduce is actually, so what is a clustered collection in MongoDB? Clustered collection in MongoDB. Just a point you should know. So what is a clustered collection in MongoDB? So capped collection you saw. Already we discussed about that capped collection. Clustered collections, usually they can have more than one index keys. A clustered collection can have multiple index keys. Actually, when you created a collection, default one index key is present. What is that index key? Auto-generated ID, auto-index ID. You can have another auto ID, another multiple index keys can be there in a clustered collection. What is the advantage of multiple index ID is you can easily manipulate the data by using the default ID or by using a clustered ID. Clustered ID means one more unique ID, another unique ID inside the collection for every record. So that is good because auto index IDs are auto generated, and clustered index IDs you can define what you want. But this is also not great every time. Actually, they are good in manipulations, interactions and manipulations. They are good because they give a unique, but not great every time, because when there are multiple unique keys, then accessing will be slow, querying will be slow. So that leads to some issues. That is the reason it is not a great type of collection every time, but you can have a clustered collection. Clustered collection is nothing but you can have multiple indexes. You can have multiple indexes. That means when you created a collection here, so when I created a collection here, let's see. When I create a collection here, so the database, our database is sample. Okay, create collection. You are creating a collection name. Some demo is a collection name. And this collection, you see now, I am creating as a clustered collection. So what is the specialty of clustered collection is it contains a user defined key. It contains an user defined key. And what is the index key? You have to give the key name. Key name I can give as suppose some ID. Actually there is already an ID. That is not ID. That is actually underscore ID. Underscore ID is what? A unique ID generated for every record. Now you can have your own ID also. You can give any name, doesn't matter. That means suppose I given like record ID, some product ID. You can use anything. So now we have two unique fields in a table. You can query based on any. So this is better. Why? Because I told you na, there is no primary key concept here. By default, which one? Auto index ID is primary key, but auto index ID we don't generate. Automatically it will generate a value. In that, which value is present, we are not sure because it is auto generated, but this you can define. Another speciality is there. What is the speciality is it can expire after few seconds. That means what? This is optional. This is optional. No need to configure this. That means what happens is automatically this key can expire. That means, for example, I want a key to be generated for every document when I am doing some calculation or some manipulation. After the manipulation is completed, that key must be deleted. It should not be longer available. Then you can create the keys in such a way that they are available only while manipulating for few seconds. After that, they will be deleted. You can have auto deleted, just like in your JavaScript, you will learn like cookies. Cookies will create a unique ID. Later, if you learn JavaScript, you will learn that your state management is there. In that you have cookies. Cookies can have an value, and cookie value can expire automatically after few seconds or minutes you can define. So that a unique identification can be created. It will be available until you do the transaction. Once you finish the transaction, it can be deleted. How much time it should be available? How much time it should be available? You can keep a time also. You can keep the time interval also. Time interval also. So this is optional. That means you don't want, you can just leave it. What is advantage of this is actually, so I'm creating collection. It creates a collection. Now I am adding a new document into this. Insert a new document into this. And what is the document here? We are adding one document. So what is it? So automatic one ID is generated. So we need one more option. What is it? ID. ID is one. Suppose name is some TV. Like this we define insert, and it inserts. And I am using another insert document. So here I am adding another ID. ID is again one. And here we have name. Name is what? Mobile. I am adding another one. It is inserting. Now it is not unique, na? It is not unique because we haven't given any unique. That means you can also give unique, but default it is not unique. You have another key field, but it is not unique. You can make it as unique. While creating itself, you can configure unique. So how do you configure? By using the properties, you can configure as unique. In the selection, there is no unique option. So while using through command, we can configure as what? Unique. So unique means what? Already if there is a value, it will not allow to take a new value. Default, it is not unique. Default, it is taking the value. You can make it as unique. You can make it as unique. How you can make it as unique? While creating the clustered collection using commands, you can add unique. Inside the collection, while creating the collection, you see here, where is this? It is showing clustered. Clustered means multiple keys are present, but the multiple keys are not unique. You see, I will add another, some ABC here. Preference created a clustered, and you see here you have only two options to define. What is it? Name, another one expire. But actually it have more properties. It have more properties. So usually when you open this learn more, you will get the more properties about it. How you configure the clustered collections, how you define them unique, everything will be there. There is an option now. What is it? Unique. Unique, you can set it as what? True. You will get more when you write through command. Then what will happen? You will have an option to add. Those options are not directly available. If you give this unique, what will happen? If you give this unique, automatically it will not allow the value to take the same, right? Through command, if you want to create, this is the process you need to create, right? But through design mode, you cannot define it. So what is the clustered collection is nothing but a clustered collection can have multiple indexes. A clustered collection can have multiple indexes. You can configure multiple unique keys, key fields, other than auto index ID. Other than auto index ID. You can configure multiple unique keys, unique key fields. Yeah. It is good for manipulations. It is good for manipulations. However, it is slow in interactions when there are multiple unique keys in collection. That's one problem. So collection name, clustered index keys, suppose I give an ID, unique, name is optional, any description. You can give any description. While creating the collection, you can make the collection as clustered. You can keep unique, true, false. Right. Now these are the points how to handle. Now one more concept is there about MongoDB is about ORM. ORM, I told you now, it is one key feature. MongoDB can create database collections through business logic. We can write a business logic. According to that, it can build everything. That requires little knowledge of programming. That means server side JavaScript you need to learn. Anyhow, we will see that in now in working with Node.js. So to understand the ORM, you need to know programming. That means you need to learn about server side programming. That now we can start with the concept of what? Node.js. So now we are going to start understanding Node.js. Right? So in Node.js, you will see MongoDB again. So ORM, how MongoDB works, how we configure Node.js, what is it? And what is Node.js and Express.js server side? We have to start learning it. That we will see from next session, right? In the next session, now we are going to start understanding with Node.js. Okay. Tomorrow we will do that. In tomorrow's session, we will start with that. Okay. Right. And anybody interested as mentors, you bring your resumes and submit to me. So today, tomorrow, anytime. Then mentoring is nothing but solving the issues to the people who are learning, because you will get experience. If you have time and you have interest, you will get experience. Like if you know how to solve the problems, you will get experience, right? Easily you can manage. And anytime you got an opportunities, you can quit this and you can go there, right? And they will give you experience letter also, saying that he worked for this. It will help for experience also. If anybody interested, contact me. Okay. Then tomorrow we'll continue. Right? Yes, Tejaswini.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I have a small doubt.
Ah,
Sir, shall I share my screen?
okay, you can share.
Yes, yes. Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, I have created here a JSON file.
Is it an array?
Yes, sir.
It should be an array. It is not array. Array starts with a
A
square
square
bracket.
bracket. Yes, yes.
And after every object, there must be comma. You are missing. Huh? Every object needs a comma. Last object should not have a
Yes,
comma.
yes, yes.
And array, yeah.
When previously it was this only, sir. Like when I try to import from
Now,
here.
if there is any problem in the JSON file, then it will not able to add it.
Yes, it is. Okay, now it is.
That is the problem. You have issues in your
Yes, yes.
JSON, okay?
I had missed something.
You missed commas and array, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Pooja. Yes, Pooja, you have any doubt? Yes, Pooja.
Yes, sir. Can I share my screen? Uh,
Okay,
like I have one.
you can. Yes, you can share
Yes,
your
yes.
screen.
Is my screen is
Ah,
visible now?
ah.
Yeah. Doubt like here in the products I have updated ID 3 with the price of 74. Like after it is showing acknowledged true, like will that update here like it is not showing the price?
Refresh. Click the refresh button, not there. Right side in your records. There refresh button is the right corner, right side. Not there. There see refresh button after 20 number.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
you will see. Okay.
Okay, got it. Also, one more doubt, like after create collection also, we will add some data to the this one, right? So after
Uh,
that also we have to refresh, right? Then only
refresh.
data will
When you refresh,
get
then
update.
only you will see it. Okay.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Kunal.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
You tell about that NPM JSON file. How we can use that, sir? Today you see that NPM.json file. We can take that data and use it in MongoDB. How?
What you are talking, man? What doubt is yours? What you are asking? I'm unable
Means,
to understand. What you are asking?
some network issue I did not listen, sir. You told about that NPM JSON websites. Website.
NPM JSON.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is website, na? Node package
Yes, sir.
manager website. You don't need to do
Yes, sir.
anything there. Leave it.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
And what about the doubt sessions, sir? We can add. We can.
Already we are giving the mentors link. Na? You clarified doubts there. If you have any doubts, later I will tell. You are asking
Okay,
doubts
sir.
now after class, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is doubt only, na?
Yes, sir.
And then what else you want?
No, sir. No,
And
sir.
if you have
I
any
am telling
doubt
that.
after class, you can ask. While practicing, if you have any doubt, you can contact those online team. Okay. You
Okay,
can
sir.
ask them or you can ask me, anybody. No problem. Huh?
Okay, sir.